All right. Good evening, everyone. This is Brandon with BiggerPockets.com, and we are just about ready to get started here. We'll probably kick this thing off in a minute or maybe a minute and a half. Make sure people all get in here. We got a ton of people registered for today's webinar, so it should be a pretty packed house today. I'm expecting quite a few people. So it's going to be a lot of fun talking about something that I find vitally, vitally important. In fact, it's so important that if you screw this up, you're like it'll affect the rest of your investing. In fact, if you don't get the math right going into deals, like you're always going to struggle ever trying to make a profit no matter what you do. Unless you get lucky, you're going to always struggle. And so we're talking today, of course, about how to analyze rental properties for maximum cash flow. So specifically, I mean, there's a lot that can go into analysis. What we're going to focus on today is the cash flow side of it. So again, I love this topic. I'm a little bit nerdy. We're all going to get a little nerdy today. It should be fun. So what's up, everyone? Sarah, Eric, Christina, Andre, Paul, Mike, Kyle L, Andre, Joe. What's up, everyone? Hello, Chandler. Where's everybody from tonight? Where's everybody at? Who's like the farthest away from where I'm at? I'm like near Seattle. Who's like super far away, or who's super close, or wherever you're at? Howdy from Australia. That's a pretty far away. There's a Delaware, New York. What's up, everyone? So again, for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Brandon Turner. I am the co-host of the Bigger Pockets podcast, and man, am I like glitchy to you guys at all? Like I'm looking at my own face right now because that sounds really conceited, but like my like screen shows a picture of what you're seeing, and it's like super like glitchy. I don't know. It's weird. Hopefully that's not too bad. So again, okay, somebody said no, looks good to me. Okay, well, hopefully it's going to work out good. Let me give you guys a couple quick webinar techie things. First of all, I would recommend shutting off everything on your computer that is using bandwidth, which means if your kid is playing their Battlefield 1 on their Xbox, tell them to go outside. I don't care if it's raining. Tell them this is more important. If your husband or wife is up there watching Netflix and they're watching like 9 hours straight of Gilmore Girls, tell them to go outside and do something more productive with their life than Gilmore Girls. If you are, I'm making fun of my wife there a little bit. She's been big on Gilmore Girls lately. No matter what it is, try to turn off the internet, and not just your internet bandwidth, but clear up your mental bandwidth. You know, if you believe that today is important, if you believe that knowing how to analyze rental properties is important, don't miss out. Don't try to multitask and, you know, Snapchatting pictures of yourself to your friends, Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff that just distracts from your mental bandwidth. I want to encourage you guys, focus in. Lastly, if you run into some tech issues, like something goes weird, like I freeze or you can't see correctly or whatever happens, click that little blue reconnect button, on your screen, and that should kind of make things like refresh a little better. It's a little bit helpful to do that. So cool. All right, should we get this thing started? Mark said fuzzy. Yeah, that's exactly fuzzy. Hopefully you're not talking about my beard. Maybe he is talking about my beard. Anyway, or the image. Either way, click that blue reconnect button. I can't really do anything about the beard, but it will help your fuzziness on the video perhaps. And again, shut down every tab you have open. And let's get into this thing. I got a lot of slides to cover today. We got a lot to cover today, like I said. And so should be fun. So, all right, let's get into this, how to analyze rental properties. I do have a free worksheet. I'll give you a link here in a minute, or it's on the screen right now if you can read it. Biggerpockets.com/118 worksheet. Again, that's biggerpockets.com/118 worksheet. Cool? All right, let's do this thing. Where's my slides? Where's my slides at? Okay, there we go. All right. So first of all, welcome. Glad you guys are here today. You guys rock for showing up. You guys are on time, which is awesome. Says something extra special about you. You guys excited to learn today? I am excited to talk about this, so hopefully you're excited to learn. So now let me ask you a question. Now, a very, very serious question. Very serious. You guys ready for this? Are you ready to get a little nerdy? Because we are getting nerdy today. We're going to actually put on our nerd glasses. We're going to go back to high school math, more like middle school math or, you know, elementary school math. It's not that hard. And we're going to get nerdy and talk about the numbers because I love talking about the numbers. Because if you get the numbers right, you can define your life in such a powerful way. You know, one of the things I love about real estate investing more than almost anything else is your ability to like not predict the future, but really heavily estimate the future. For example, let's say I wanted to go buy some stocks, right? Like I was like, I'm going to go buy Apple stock, right? Apple stock might be great, but I have no idea what Apple's going to do next year. I can hope that they're going to go up because they're a solid company, but I have no idea. They could drop. Their CEO could have a problem. They could have, you know, board members that cause issues. They could have supply problems in China. I have no idea. But with real estate, because of analysis, because of your ability to analyze a deal, You can predict or estimate your future, your cash flow. You can lay out a plan to figure out how you're going to make $1 million, how you're going to make $10 million, how you're going to retire in 5 years or 10 years, how you're going to fund your kids' college education. I got a fun story with that I've been working on lately. Like, I've actually already funded my daughter's education. She's not even a year old, her college education someday through rental properties, because I know how to analyze deals. That's what I'm going to teach you guys a little bit more about today. So how to analyze those deals. So let's get back to our slides here. Y'all ready to get nerdy? Again, the worksheet you can get at biggerpockets.com/118 worksheet. I'll show that again in a second. But let's first of all make sure everybody here is supposed to be here, because, you know, if you think you're supposed to be here, but you might be looking for like how to get rich quick 101, that is not here. So let's make sure you guys are in the right place. First of all, if you are looking to avoid buying terrible deals, nod your head up and down. Okay, good. I see a lot of people nodding. Just kidding. I can't see you. There's like 4 people in their underwear right now. Like, he can see me. No, I can't see you. This is a one direction thing. You can see me sometimes, but I can't see you. So just nod your head anyway. Makes you feel good. All right. Secondly, you want to achieve financial freedom through rental properties in the next decade or less, right? So if you're looking to say, you know what, I don't want to have to work a job forever. I want to someday get financial freedom, and I'd like to do it maybe the next decade. You're going to love this webinar. And if you have a limited time in your day, so you need to streamline the deal analysis process, you're going to love this. Because, I mean, let's be honest. You guys don't have 2 hours a day to analyze deals. Am I right? I think I'm right. All right. So what are we going to be covering today? We're going to, first of all, I'm going to give you the worksheet download. I'll give you that link. This is kind of a summary of today's webinar. Next, I'll tell you a little bit about who I am and a little bit about Bigger Pockets in case you have no idea. Third, we're going to talk real briefly on why analysis matters so much. Why do I care so much about it? I already kind of hinted at it, but we'll get there. Then I'm going to show you guys how to analyze deals by hand. Actually walk through each step of it. In fact, I call it the 4-square method, and I can kind of explain why I call it that later, but I'll show you how to analyze deals by hand. But then I'm going to show you how to analyze deals also using analysis tools, make it go a little bit faster. So we'll actually do it both ways. So if you're somebody who likes doing stuff by hand, you can learn that. If you're somebody who'd rather make it a lot faster and do it on a computer, I'll show you that as well. We're going to look at a deal that way, like an actual property that was on the market in my area. I'm going to show you guys kind of what it looked like, how I ran my numbers, how I decided what to offer on it, and a little bit about my analysis process. Where does that fit into the whole deal, right? Like, do I analyze deals first, or do I look at them first? Or do I go and offer on them first, or do I look at them? You know, like, where does that fit? We're going to talk about that. And then I'll talk a little bit about some other pro tools that some of you already have access to, some of you know about, some of you don't. We'll hit a few things that'll hopefully make your life a whole lot easier. And then we will end this entire webinar with some Q&A. Sound good? Some Q&A? All right. All right, so like I said, oh man, I think that actually worksheet will take you to the right link. Technically speaking, go to biggerpockets.com/118 worksheet, but I think that worksheet works. But actually, I wouldn't go to that worksheet. Here, let me give you the other worksheet. The only difference is I made the new worksheet to actually be able to type in the worksheet itself. So go to biggerpockets.com/118 worksheet to download the worksheet. Biggerpockets.com/118 worksheet. You can actually fill it in your browser, which is kind of cool. If you went to this other link, the 608, that one does not let you put it in your browser. Cool? All right. All right. Hey, by the way, Ryan said, I just put an offer on my first house today. Hope Brandon tells me I did it right. Ryan, first of all, congratulations for putting an offer in. That's fantastic. I love that. Very, very cool. And hopefully you did do it right. You'll find out a little later. All right. So let's get to today's door prizes. So one of my big things in life is to provide incredible value. I want people to walk away from these webinars going, holy crap, Brandon gave a lot of value. So that's what my goal is. And so to begin the process, I want to actually give you guys some door prizes just for showing up today. You don't have to sit through the whole webinar. You get the first one just right now. You guys ready for that? Cool. All right. So the first one is designed to help you know what to read. Because here's the deal. There are a ton of books all about real estate out there, right? You can go to Amazon and find like 1 million books on real estate. So how do you know what the good ones to read are and which ones are the crappy ones? Well, I put together a guide called the top 20 real estate books every investor should read. And it's basically my favorite real estate books all put into one collection. And you can get links to Amazon if you want to buy them, or go to your library and go rent them or check them out. And again, it's just designed to tell you the books that meant a lot to me. So if you want to pick that up, that guide, it's totally free. You can download it right now. It doesn't take any opt-in or anything's weird. Just go to biggerpockets.com/books, BOOKS. Again, biggerpockets.com/books. BOOKS. So that is where you can download the guide. Now, I want to encourage you guys, though. I'm giving you this, but I'm trusting you here. I'm trusting you here that if I give you this link, which I did, you're not going to spend the rest of the webinar distracted reading it. You can get that link anytime. You can even write it on your worksheet and download it tomorrow or the next day. Don't get distracted by that book, even though I know it's really enticing. Again, stick with me here because this stuff is life-changing. All right, special gifts. The other door prizes I'm going to give you guys a little bit later in today's webinar. So I'll give you the entire slide deck from today's webinar, all 129 slides. It's like a gigantic book in itself, all the slides from today's webinar. And I'm also going to give you something that people really, 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 really like. You guys are going to love this. It's called 7 Years to 7-Figure Wealth, a roadmap to earning your first million by investing in small multifamily properties. Now, what this is it's a book that I wrote. It's very short. You can read it in under an hour. It's a digital book. You can download it today. And it's going to basically walk you through like a mathematical plan. Like if you did this in year 1, this in year 2, this in year 3, this in year 4, 5, 6, and 7, I'm going to show you mathematically how you can make $1 million in net worth. Like this will blow your mind if you've not read this before, or if you've not seen this all laid out. It's the power of recycling cash flow, and it is incredible, incredible. So stay tuned for that. Is that cocky for me to say my own book is incredible? Trust me, you'll love it. All right, so a little bit about me. My name is Brandon Turner. A lot of you guys know me already, but I am the co-host of the Bigger Pockets podcast, the largest real estate podcast on planet Earth. And you can listen to us every single Thursday. Well, you can listen to us anytime, but we have a new episode every Thursday. Been doing this for 4 years straight. One of the longest running podcasts as well. Never missed a week. And that's what I do. But I'm also, more than that, I am a real estate investor. I am really like obsessed with this real estate game. I am very addicted. In fact, I go to look at properties almost every single day. I'm always analyzing deals. I'm making a lot of offers. Last year, I bought 12 units. My goal was 12. I hit it. In fact, I closed on my 12th unit on December 30th because I really wanted to close by the end of the year to hit my goal. And again, I'm not the guy that's buying like 50 houses a month, but I do buy consistently. I currently have 52 units right now is where I'm at. It goes up and down because I buy and sell a fair amount. But right now I'm at 52 units. And my wife and I, that's my wife there, we do this together. This is our full-time gig. I'm also, random fact, I'm a guitar player and a drummer. I'm not a very good drummer or a very good guitar player, but I do enjoy both. Like I said earlier, I'm the author of a couple books, including the book on investing in real estate with no and low money down. That's this one up here in the corner. The book on managing rental properties, which I co-wrote with my lovely wife, Heather, who's amazing at managing properties. And then lastly, the book on rental property investing, which is currently the #1 or #2 most popular real estate book in the country, which is kind of exciting. So, and I like to give a random fact on every webinar. Random fact today, I was once in a barbershop quartet. That is a true thing. I was actually, we did a high school talent show. Me and 3 buddies, we did a barbershop quartet, and we sang This Little Light of Mine in very much, like we had bow ties and everything. I mean, we were classic. And the group that went on before us was like 9 of like the hottest girls in my class. And they did like this like really like raunchy dance to some like Moulin Rouge song. And like we got up there, we're like, yeah, there's no way we're winning this. So we decided to have some fun with it. So we actually like stripped on stage in front of our, not completely, but like, 4 choir nerds decided to take off some of our stuff on stage. And that was fun, but we still didn't win. I don't know. Anyway, random story. Has nothing to do with what we're talking about today. And for those of you who do not know, I'm actually a new dad. Actually, my wife and I gave birth. Well, my wife gave birth to our first little girl. Her name is Rosie, back last May. And she is my entire world. I mean, my entire world was turned upside down in such a good way. I could have never imagined how awesome being a dad was. If you guys are not dads, man, you should be a dad or a mom, I guess. But man, being a dad is amazing. Maybe I'll try to introduce you to Rosie if my wife feels like bringing her out later. But yeah, that's what I do. And that's actually why I do real estate. A lot of people do real estate like they say they want to get into real estate because they want to get rich. But let's be honest, right? We don't actually want to get rich. We want the things that being rich can do for us. We want financial freedom for the things that financial freedom can do for us. We want to succeed at this because of what it can do for us. So like, ask yourself that question. Why are you really doing this? Why are you here donating the next hour of your day, of your life, to learning this stuff? I mean, you could be out there playing video games or out walking in a park or flirting with somebody on Snapchat, right? But you're here for a reason. Why is that? For me, it was because I knew back in the day when I started, I wanted to someday be the best dad possible. I always wanted to have kids. And I said, someday I want to be there for my kid to do every ball game, every choir concert, every football game, soccer game, ballet recital, field trip, whatever. I was going to be there. I wanted to be the best dad possible. And that's what my why was that drove me forward. That's also why analyzing deals, why this webinar is so important. Because you guys have a lot of goals. I mean, go ahead and let me know in the chat area. What is it you're trying to do? I want to read a couple off. Like, why are you doing real estate? Monique said, I do real estate so I can be with my family. I'm a mother of 4. Perfect, right? Like, that's why we do things like real estate, because they want to be with your family. And so there's all these things. Like, let me backtrack a minute. So without having that clear why, most people quit. And I don't want you guys to quit. But more than that, a lot of you guys have these really good reasons, like financial freedom, pay off my student loans. Melissa said, Lawrence said retirement. Mark said freedom in all caps. Andy said financial freedom to pursue passion projects. I love that. AT said to be a stay-at-home dad. Ben said so I can stop being a weekend dad. Ooh, deep. Again, these are like, George said more time to play bagpipes. That's awesome. So like, these are awesome reasons, but here's some really bad news. You guys listening close here? Bad news. And why today's webinar is so important. Most people don't know how to analyze rental properties, and they end up buying properties they shouldn't buy. Now, if you have this goal of being a better dad, to travel over the world, like Bettina said, or Tina said, time freedom. Craig said, quit my job. You have all those like goals in your life or whatever. Here's the sad part is if you don't analyze deals correctly, you're not going to achieve that. How would that make you feel to know that you always had this goal and you never achieved it? Pretty crappy, right? And so my goal today is to make sure you guys understand exactly how to run through the numbers so you can get those things that you want. You can get the financial freedom. You can get the ability to run your own life, to travel the world, to do whatever it is you want. And it all begins with analyzing deals correctly. So have I framed that correctly? The importance of that? I hope so. All right, so moving on. Okay, here we go. So if those of you who don't know what this is, Bigger Pockets, who we are, we're the real estate investing social network, marketplace, and information hub. Basically, we are the largest website online for real estate investors to connect with each other, to learn, to grow, to connect, to buy and sell deals, to do whatever. We are the site that helps people. So we've got blogs, we've got forums, we've got podcasts, we've got books, a conference, meetups, real world meetups, we've got videos, tons of those. We got forums, we got files, we got networking. We got these weekly webinars. I've been doing these webinars every single week for 2 years now. I've not missed a single week in 2 years because I think these are valuable. These are changing people's lives. And so we keep doing them. We're not charging you for these webinars. We don't charge for the podcast or for the forums or for the blogs because we believe in providing the education for free. I mean, yeah, you might pay $20 for a book, right? Or $30 or $50 if you want to buy the big package. But we're not out there charging you $10,000 for education. In fact, Bigger Pockets that's kind of our philosophy. We don't charge to teach you guys stuff. Our belief is that if we teach you guys how to invest in real estate, you will become successful. Then we offer tools as part of our pro membership that some of you will choose to use and hopefully buy more real estate because of that. So we want to make you more successful. We want to make it easier for you to learn how to invest in real estate with the tools, but the information is there if you're willing to take it, if you're willing to grab it. I think it's kind of a cool business model. It's very different from how pretty much everybody else in the world does it. It's like, just pay me $9,999 and I'll show you my secret. There are no secrets. Those guys are just liars and charlatans. So be careful of people who are trying to charge you tens of thousands of dollars. I'm not saying they're always liars, but man, they cost a lot of money sometimes. All right, so moving on. Why does analysis matter so much? Why does it matter so much? So let's go through this thing. I kind of talked about it already, but it's this idea. I'm gonna tell it in a story. The Martin disaster. So this is a property that I actually tried to work. I actually tried to make this a flip actually back in the day. I don't know, this is probably 6 years ago now. The top picture is the before, the bottom picture is the after. It was a duplex that I turned into a single family house. I put in hardwood floors, travertine tile in the bathroom and the kitchen floor. I put in granite countertops. I put in new, everything was new. Paint, flooring, windows. It was beautiful. Beautiful. I was expecting to make about $50,000 on this flip. And in fact, I did most of it myself. I did most of the work on my own myself. At the end of the day, you know how much I actually made? For a year of working on it with me and my wife, and then a year of it sitting on the market trying to sell, you know how much we made? We lost $10,000. You know why? Because I didn't analyze it right. In fact, had I analyzed it correctly, had I known then what I know now, I would have still bought the property, but I would have kept it as a rental property because if I would have just kept it as a rental, I could have been making $1,000 a month in cash flow today. A couple of years ago, I ran the numbers thinking, man, what would I have done differently? And I looked at it and I would have been making $1,000 a month in cash flow, but I didn't analyze it right. I decided to flip it instead of rent it. I didn't look at it right. I screwed up and I lost 10 grand in 2 years of my life. I want to make you guys not make that problem, right? I want to help you avoid that problem. So let's get on with how to do this. So we already talked about this already. What do you want real estate to do for you? What's your goal? What's your why? Now, I asked that earlier and you guys gave a lot of really good stuff. I want to bring up this quote because a lot of you guys had really good things you want to do, right? A lot of things like, I want to travel back to Spain and live like a king, get a Lamborghini, travel through time and space with Doctor Who. That's a good answer. Gregory said, so I can be independent, not continue down the same path, working for the same company 32 years. I want to be my own boss, right? Those are all good things, but here's the sad truth. As Michael Jordan said, some people want it to happen, some wish it would happen, and others make it happen. So the question is, what type of person are you? Are you somebody who wants it to happen, somebody who wishes it will happen, or are you going to make that happen? Which one? It's kind of a convicting quote, right? I mean, I know a lot of people who want to lose weight. Do they? No. I know a lot of people who want to get in shape. I know people who want to get on a budget, who want to lose, make more money. I know people who want to buy rental properties, but they just want it. They don't actually do it. So how do you become someone who does it? I believe it begins with analysis. And again, that's what we're talking about. If you want your goals and your dreams to come true, you got to learn how to analyze deals correctly. So important. So let's go through this, how to analyze deals by hand. How do you analyze deals by hand? So first of all, we are analyzing for cash flow primarily. That's the entire title of today's webinar, is analyzing for maximum cash flow. So before we go any further, what is cash flow? It's the extra money in your pocket, right? So if you make $1,000 a month and you pay out in expenses $800 a month, all expenses, and there's a little trick there, you're going to cash flow $200 that month, right? So cash flow is how much money you stick in your pocket at the end of the day, on average over time. So let's say 1 month you made 1,000 and next month you made 0. Your average cash flow was 500 a month, right? And so what we want to do is we want to get consistent cash flow and make sure that your cash flow meets whatever it is that you need to achieve your goals. So let's get to that. I'll show you guys how to do that by hand. And then, like I said, afterwards, we're going to go through it electronically. So very, very basic. Like I said, income minus expenses is going to be cash flow. Right? We all understand that. You make 1,000, you spend 800, you get 800 or 200 in cash flow. Now the income part's pretty easy. You got rental income, you got laundry income, you got storage income, you got your late fees, you got all those things that could be income. And most of us understand that because the bulk of it is here in the rental income. That's pretty understandable. Where people tend to struggle though is in the expenses, is not getting all of the expenses. So here's an example of most of the expenses. Now your area might have a few other ones, but these are the key expenses. And this is on your worksheet. So I'm going to keep this page up just for a second. You've got taxes, you've got your insurance, you've got vacancy. In other words, your property is going to sit empty part of the year. Make sure you're calculating for that. You got repairs, right? The property is going to break down over time. You got to repair it. You got your repairs, you got your CapEx. And this is something people forget all the time. They forget to do things like, now what is CapEx? It's things like things that break over time. They aren't really repairs. They're just things that have to be replaced. For example, every 20 or 30 years, you got to put new windows in a property, right? Every 50 years, you're probably gonna have to replace all the plumbing. Every 20 years, you're gonna have to replace a new roof, right? Or a new driveway or new siding. It's all those big things that you got to save up for. And every 20 or 30 years, you got to do it. But there's so many of them, it happens all the time. So it's kind of connected to repairs, but it's more than that. It's called CapEx is what we call it, which is short for capital expenditures. And then you got things like utilities, like water, sewer, garbage. You got things like gas, electricity, if you got to pay the electricity. You have HOA fees, maybe if you're in a homeowners association area. You got maybe things like snow removal, lawn care, maybe property management, and maybe a special assessment. Ryan actually jumped in the chat area and said, don't forget special assessments. Yeah, some areas have special assessments, whether it's if you're in a homeowners association area, or maybe just your city goes and says, you know what, we're going to charge all of our city members, or all of our inhabitants $50 a month for the new sewer system that we're getting. Stuff like that happens. So just keep that in mind. Those things can really, really add up. So how do you find out these expenses? Well, like let's say let's go back to this list here. Let's say, how do you find out taxes? Well, every one of these, you just walk through one at a time and you just figure it out. Now, I know that sounds cheesy, but listen to this. Like taxes, you go to your tax assessor. Your county has an assessor who does their taxes. You can usually look it up online, find out what taxes are. How do you figure out what insurance is? How much insurance costs? Talk to an insurance agent. Vacancy, I usually talk to a local property manager or a local investor. They can tell you what they're typically getting. Repairs and CapEx can be a little more tricky, but I can point you guys to some articles. I'll show you a little later where you can find some of that out. Utilities, call the utility department. Gas, call the utility department. HOAs, call the HOA the manager. Like all the stuff you can figure out. You just got to try. You got to work through it one at a time and figure this stuff out. Now, over time, it'll get easier and easier and easier. So that's how you figure that stuff out. So we're going to look at a real life example. This is a property that was on the market a little while ago in my area. And remember this. I'm going to show you guys an example here in a second. I'm going to show you an example of a property. Now, a lot of you are going to say, holy cow, that property is expensive because you live in Detroit. And a lot of you are going to say, holy cow, that property is cheap because you live in LA. Right? So remember, math is relative. I don't care if this property is super expensive or super cheap to you. It's all relative. So I'm going to show you a property. The property is like $74,000. It's on the low end. It's on the cheaper end for a property. I mean, it's a fixer upper, but it's still on the cheap end. But don't let that throw you off. Don't let that stop you and say, you know what? I can't do this because Brandon's property doesn't meet what I see in my area. Don't worry about it. Numbers work anywhere. So here's the property we're looking at. 535 West End Place. It's a cute little house there. Needs a little bit of work, I can see. And I could go through the pictures if I wanted. I can even walk through the property if I wanted to, but we're going to make some assumptions here and do a quick analysis to see. So let's walk through this thing. I want to ask you guys, first of all, based on what you know now, they're asking $74,000 for this property, and it would probably rent for about $895 a month. Based on knowing, and we'll talk about where to find that out in a minute, but based on that, what do you guys think? Is that a good deal or not a good deal? Just based on what you know so far, I want to know, because a lot of people, that's the most information they ever know. So it should be a poll popping up on your screen. It should say good or bad, and I'll even add a not sure option in there. So good or bad or not sure, what do you guys think? Just based on what you know so far for this property, $74,900, rent $895. Of course, there's a lot of things you're going to guess on. I'm not expecting you guys to be perfect here, but I just want to get an idea. So it rents $895, buy it for $74,900. Give you guys about 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, so it looks like 39% of you guys, now 40% of people thought it was a good deal. 21% of people, they're not too sure. Sorry, 40% said good, 21% said bad, and 39% said they're just not sure. So most of you guys think it's either good or you're not too sure. Okay, so let's go through now and do the numbers. I like to ask that question because you guys, to be honest, a lot of people, that's the only analysis they ever do. I'm not kidding. That happens all the time. Maybe some of you guys are guilty of this, is where you look at the purchase price, you look at what the rent is, and that's it. That they make their decision based on those two numbers. But we have no idea at this point. There's so many things that could go into this. We have no idea. So let's walk through this number, and we're going to do it by hand together. So the way we're going to do this, we're going to divide this into kind of 4 little sections, I guess you could say. We're going to start with income. That's the first section. Income, what does it bring in? Well, I already told you $895, right? That's what's bringing in is $895. Okay, so that's box number 1. If we're talking about what I meant labeled earlier, the 4-square analysis. In other words, we're breaking it into 4 sections: income, expenses, cash flow, return on investment. There's a kind of 4 sections involved here. So let's go back to our thing here. We got, where are we? Income. Okay, here we go. All right, so income $895, and we've got expenses of how much? What do you think? All right, so I told you guys earlier the list, but taxes, insurance, vacancy repairs, CapEx, water, sewer, garbage, gas, electricity, HOA, snow removal, lawn care, property management. Well, let's just run through this real quick on what I imagine this would be. I imagine taxes. So I looked up on the county assessor, and taxes are around $125 a month, or whatever that is, $1,500 a year, something like that. Insurance was probably around $45 a month for this property. I usually use about a 5% vacancy. That's pretty typical in my area. For repairs, I did $44 a month in repairs, which isn't a whole lot, but the property I assume we'd probably fix up a little bit. Now, CapEx are those things that wear out over time. And I chose $161 a month for CapEx. Now, that's pretty high. The reason I chose a pretty high number there is because, I mean, we've done the math here on Bigger Pockets. We've done the math and figured out it typically costs between $100 and $200 a month on average for a house for capital expenditures. When you divide up the cost of a water heater, of a fridge, stove, a roof, windows, plumbing, everything, and divide it over the life of those objects, you typically get between $100 and $200 a month. So I chose $161 a month, or 18% on this one. So typically, again, I usually go between $100 and $200 a month on CapEx. Unless I'm going to fix the property up completely, then maybe I'll do a little bit less. But in this case, I'm doing 161. Now, water, they're going to pay their own. Sewer, garbage, they pay their own. Gas, they'll pay their own. Electricity, HOA, not in this neighborhood. Snow removal, we don't really get snow here. Lawn care, the tenant can pay that themselves. And property management. So we're left with $89 a month for property management, because I don't want to manage myself. Now, that means our operating expenses, and a few of you have already commented in the chat room that I'm missing something in here. I'll get to that. Our operating expenses come to $510 a month for operating expenses. That means what's it cost every month just to hold on to the property? I added up pretty quick, didn't it? So we got $895 and $510. Now, what expense did we not include? What do you guys think? What are we missing? What are we missing? And by the way, George said, can you elaborate on CapEx today? I would like to spend more time on that. Remind me during the Q&A time, and we'll spend a little more time. I'll even point you guys to an article where I go really in depth on CapEx. All right, so Scott said it. Mike said it. Bao said it. A bunch of you guys said it. Okay, good. Drew, Travis, David, AT. The mortgage, correct. We did not include the mortgage yet. So let's hit that up. Well, remember the property was asking, they were asking $74,900 for it, right? Times 80%. Why 80%? Well, I figured I'll probably put 20% down. That's pretty typical for a rental property, is 20% down. So if I got a mortgage for 80% of the value, that means I'm going to get $59,920 in the mortgage. By the way, some of you guys, if you guys don't see the chat room moving, that's because I have it on private right now. I've been turning on and off private chat. So you can still type and I'll see it, but it's not going to go for everybody. So we're going to get a mortgage for $59,000. Now, if we were to do a quick mortgage calculator, which there's a million mortgage calculators online, you can even go to biggerpockets.com/calc, and we have a mortgage calculator that you can use. Anyway, if you run it through a mortgage calculator at a 30-year mortgage at 5% interest, we're looking at about $321 a month for a mortgage payment. So let's go back to our numbers. Our income was $895. Our expenses, box number 2, I guess you could say, is $510. Then we're going to add $321 a month for our mortgage payment, meaning our total expenses on average over time is going to equal about $831 a month. $831.70 a month. So if we were to run our cash flow calculation, this is kind of the third part we're going to do. So first is income, second expenses, third box is cash flow. Our cash flow is looking at roughly $63.30 a month. It's kind of bad, isn't it? Only $63 a month in cash flow. Or is it good? I don't know. What do you think? Is $63.30 a good amount of cash flow? Yes or no? What do you guys think? Is it good? Well, to know that answer to that question, you need to know what your return on investment is. Now, why is that important? Let me explain. Let's just say that I told you to give me $100,000. I want you to give me $100,000. And in return, I'm going to give you $63 a month. Is that a good return? Well, that means you're only going to be making like, what's that, $800 a year? That's like not even 1% on your money. Now, what if I said this? What if I said, hey, you, Bill, John, Jane, whatever, give me $100 and every month I'll give you $63 back. Is that a good return on your money? Of course it is, right? If you gave me 100 and every month I gave you 63, you'd have paid yourself back in 2 months. You'd be making so much money, it'd be crazy. Now, what that is that you're looking at your return on your investment. What kind of percent return, your yield, are you getting back? Now, typically when I buy a property, let me tell you what I like to look for. I typically look for at least a 12% cash on cash return. Now, there are reasons I would buy less than that, especially if I think that the overall long-term value is better. And we'll talk about that in a minute, the total return. But I typically look for a 12% cash on cash return and at least $100 a month for a multifamily per unit or $200 a month for a single family house. That's just my numbers. It doesn't have to be yours. It's just what I look for when I buy a property. So going back to our numbers, let's go look at that again. What is the return on investment we're getting on this property? Well, to figure out your return on investment, you've got to do a little calculation. Now, don't get too confused here. It's just a very simple division. What you do is you divide your annual cash flow by how much money you put into the deal. So remember a minute ago when I told you, when I used the example of what if you were to give me $100 and I gave you $63 a month? That's what we're talking about here. So let's say, again, I said in its annual cash flow. So let's say that you gave me $100,000 and I gave you $10,000 a year back. Well, we do 10,000 divided by 100,000 equals 10%. That's how you figure out your cash on cash return on investment. So your cash on cash return is the return that your cash flow gives you. Does that make sense? So this gets a little bit confusing. So bear with me. I'm going to repeat it one more time. So there's return on investment, like total return, and then there's cash on cash return. Your cash on cash return is how much, what kind of yield or what kind of return your cash flow gives you. So we're not looking at the fact that your property is getting paid down. We're not looking at the appreciation it going up over time. We're just looking at the cash flow. So that's what we're doing right now is we're figuring out what kind of cash on cash return are we getting. Now in this case, well, we are making $63 a month. $63 a month times 12 months equals, well, or I should say divided by what? Our total invested capital. All right. So how much money do we put into this deal? Anybody know? Well, we talked about the down payment of 20%, right? We kind of assumed earlier 20%. So we put down $14,980 for a down payment. How do you get that? Well, we just took 74,900 times 0.2. That's 14,000. We also have closing costs. Maybe 3,500 bucks for closing costs. That might be a little high. Maybe it's a little low depending on your loan and stuff, but I did 3,500. Then we got repairs. You know, we got to fix the property up. In this case, I just said 8,500. Maybe that's high, maybe that's low, but I thought 8,500 would probably get that place cleaned up and rent ready. And then lastly, what about just miscellaneous other stuff? Like, hey, we got an appraisal, we have an inspection, we've got maybe overages for in case we go over on our repairs, whatever. So overall, add it all up together, we've spent $29,480. That's how much money we invested in this deal. So we weren't sure what's our total invested capital? 29,000. So if we were to take 6330 times 12 divided by 29,480, we get $759 a year divided by 29,000. And that works out to a cash on cash return of 2.57%. Now earlier, I told you guys what I look for in a property, right? I typically look for at least 12%. So am I going to buy this deal at 74,900 or whatever it was? No, probably not. Now is 2.57 cash on cash return a good amount of cash flow? I mean, probably not, at least not for me. You know why I would say not for me? Because I could get 2.5% just sticking it in the like a bank CD. I could get probably better than that in the stock market. So there's other things that I could do. Now, let me ask you this though. Here's a kind of a trick question, I guess you could say. Not really trick, but what if I told you that this property, after you fixed it up, was worth $300,000? What do you think? Is it worth a good deal now? Heck yes, right? Because you could turn around and sell this property next month, and who cares if you lost some money or didn't make a lot of money in cash flow? You'd make a ton of money on selling it. You'd make a couple $100,000 in profit. So then it would be a good deal, right? So now we're getting even deeper. Now we're looking at the total return, meaning what if you combined cash flow with other things, like the fact that it might be worth more than you paid for it or whatever. Now we're talking about total return, and that's a whole different game that we're not even going to do that by hand. That would take us quite a while to get real deep in hand, but that is where we start getting really interesting, because sometimes deals don't look good on cash flow, but they might look really good on total return. Now, to do the more in-depth stuff, to do the total return on investment, or just to figure out our cash flow quicker, I want to show you guys how to do it a little bit easier way. And now we're going to do this thing with technology. Y'all like technology, right? So I'm going to go, let's go ahead and actually do this. I'm going to show you guys something here. So this is called the BiggerPockets Property Analysis Calculator. So at BiggerPockets, we took what I used to have a spreadsheet years ago. I used a spreadsheet, but I kept screwing up on it, and I'd make little changes and it was hard to organize. And then I would print out the spreadsheet and give it to people, and their eyes would just like gloss over, because a spreadsheet is very difficult for a lot of people, like lenders or partners or my spouse, to look at, right? So what we did is we took a spreadsheet, we basically 10x'd it, made it way better. we made it an online software program that you can actually just plug in numbers now. You can track your different properties, keep them all in BiggerPockets. It's very, very sexy. I'm a big fan of it. So I use it all the time. So that's what I'm going to show you guys right now. And I'm actually going to share my screen with you guys. So this is, if you go to biggerpockets.com/analysis. Now remember here, your screen might get a little bit blurry. If it is, you can always click that blue reconnect button. And I'll use this also as a time to say, if your screen's blurry, it's possible that you're multitasking. So I encourage you guys, shut that phone off, shut the Facebook off, the Twitter, all that stuff. I know it's easy to get distracted, but this is so important, guys. So pay attention to this if you can. So biggerpockets.com/analysis. I'm going to click here to start the analysis. And I've given 4 different calculators. There's 4 main big calculators. There's the fix and flip calculator, the rental property calculator, the BRRRR calculator, which, man, I love BRRRR investing. If you guys want to talk more about that later, we can. That's one of my favorite strategies in the world. And then there's wholesaling calculator. Now, there's also the mortgage calculator and the 70% rule, and the kind of the small ones down here. Don't worry about those. But right now, we're worried about these 4. So I want to buy this property as a rental property. So I'm going to go ahead and analyze it this way. And to make it a little bit quicker today, I actually already did it. So check this out. I already put in all the numbers. Now, in reality, though, you guys can analyze a deal in under 5 minutes using this kind of process, right? So in reality, typically when you're doing a property by hand, it takes maybe a half hour to analyze a deal, and you still don't get everything perfectly. When you're doing it in a spreadsheet, there's very high likelihood for making mistakes, you're not including everything, and then it's hard to look at the data afterwards. Plus, it can take some time that way as well. So with this calculator, again, you guys can do this in under 5 minutes. I want to encourage you guys, try it later, see what you think. So let's go through and walk through this. There's only 3 pages of the calculator, and then 1 more. So, and by the way, guys, I should have made something clear. When I said earlier, what if I told you that property was worth $300,000? It's not worth $300,000. I was just saying hypothetically, trying to explain that. So just in case you were wondering, no, that property is worth maybe like $100,000 when it's fixed up. So maybe 120, but we'll say 100. All right, so let's go back over to here. Again, like I said, there's 3 pages to worry about. Page 1 at the top, page 2 at the top, and page 3. All we're going to do is walk through page 1, page 2, and page 3. So we start out with a title. What do we want to call this? Well, I'll call it webinar deal. I put the address, city, state, zip code. Everybody feeling comfortable with that so far, right? Nod your head. Good. There's one guy like, I don't get it. What's a zip code? All right. So then we got our annual property taxes. Now here's where people start getting nervous. And they're like, wait, I don't know how to find that number. I'm going to go back to watching Dancing with the Stars and throw my life away, right? Like people they just stop working at stuff when it gets hard. So to help you guys power through that stuff, to help you learn how to analyze a deal, we actually put these little question marks. Check this out. Hover over the question mark, and it teaches you every step of the process how to get through these analyses. So for example, hover over the annual property taxes, and it says, how much of the annual whole year property taxes of the property? If unsure, this information is typically publicly available on your county assessor's website. Oh, cool. So I'm going to go to my county assessor's website. I'm going to figure it out. And on this property, I figured out it's about $1,500 a year. So I can upload a photo if I want to. I can put in a little bit of a sales description if I want. And that's really it for page 1. Everybody feeling comfortable? Good. Let's move on to page 2. Now, page 2, we're just going to put the purchase price, right? $74,900. What's it worth when it's fixed up? Closing costs. And if you don't know this stuff, again, hover over the question mark. In fact, a lot of people struggle with like after repair value. But check this out. If you hover over the question mark, there's even a link to an article on how to estimate the after repair value. So again, we want to help you learn how to do this while you're going through it. Next, we got purchase closing costs. Then we've got, where are we at? Purchase closing costs. We got estimated repair costs. And if you guys struggle with repairs, check this out. You can click expand and actually go step by step. Roof, concrete, gutters, garage, siding, landscaping. If you guys need help with that, just go step by step through that process. It's pretty cool. All right, next we got our loan details, right? We got to get a loan on this property. So I chose to do 20% down. I chose an interest rate of 5%. I chose, other charges from the lender. Like I said, we're around $2,500 there. We already put our $3,500 closing costs and our repairs. We've got a 30-year mortgage. I'm not going to worry about the cap rate because it's only for commercial properties, and you can find that out by hovering over the question mark. And that's it for page 2, really. Let's go on to page 3. All right, what's the total gross monthly rent? Now, a lot of you are wondering how you figure this out. Well, check this out. Hover over the question mark. How much rent will the property receive each month? Either enter a master number here or expand the section to break down the number into specific units. So yes, you can use this analysis calculators, all of them, to analyze multifamily as well. In fact, I primarily look for multifamilies. If you're unsure on the rental price, consider using Craigslist.org, Zillow.com, or Rentometer.com to estimate the potential rent, or ask a local landlord. So my favorite is Craigslist. I go to Craigslist, find out what other properties are renting for, and then I just try to, assume that mine's going to be somewhat similar. So in this case, I chose $895 a month. Down below, we've got our expenses, things like electricity, which they're going to pay themselves, water, sewer, garbage, PMI, garbage, monthly insurance. I'm going to put that in. Taxes are carried over from page 1. And then were there any other monthly expenses? I don't think there were on this property, except for things like vacancy, 5%, repairs, 5%, our CapEx at 18%, our property management at 10%. And then we got our future assumptions, things like, what do I think the future is going to hold for this property? Now, this is completely optional, but what would I guess that inflation is going to carry up my property in value, or my income? Is my income going to go up? So I did, let's say my income every year I can charge 2% more for rent on average. And my property value, let's say it climbs 2% per year. And let's say my expenses climb roughly 2% per year. And then lastly, our sales expenses. What do I expect my sales expenses to go up? What do I expect my sales expenses to be someday when I sell the property? So for example, let's say 5 years from now, I decided to sell it. Well, I got to pay a real estate agent 6% to sell it. And I probably got to pay closing costs and a few other things. So I typically use around 9 or 10% for sales expenses. And that's it. Like I said, you guys can run through those numbers in under 5 minutes. In fact, when you get quick, like I can do it in like 2. And you can burn through these analysis really, really quick. So here we are again, back on our original page, like our final page. Up here at the top, we got our purchase price. We've got our monthly income, our monthly expenses, our monthly cash flow, our pro forma cap rate, which we don't really care about the cap rates here, but we do care about this, our cash on cash return. There's that 2.58% number. I think we saw 2.57 before, but that was rounding. This is exact. We've got our total cash needed, our net operating income. We've got all the numbers we entered here. We can see how our expenses added up so high. We can see things like the income expense ratio, our equity, and then check this out. This is really cool. This is super helpful. What about the future? Like, what if I bought this property and then held on to it for 4 years and then sold it? What would I make then? Well, according to this, I would probably go down here to like total profit if sold. If I sold it in year 4, I might make 15 grand on this property after 4 years, which works out to a total return. Remember we talked about total return? An annualized total return of 11.1%. So is this a good deal? Well, I don't know. I mean, now it's looking a little better if I held the property for a while. At least it's a little better. But personally, remember, I don't like this 2.58% cash on cash return or the $63 a month in cash flow. Now, here, guys, is where this gets interesting. What do most people do when they find a deal that doesn't work out? They give up. They go back to watching Dancing with the Stars at home and throwing their life away, right? Eating nachos on the couch, saying, I wish I could invest in real estate, but I can't find any good deals. Boo-hoo, right? That's what everybody does. They say, I can't find any good deals. But here's the magic of real estate investing right here. If there's one thing you pay attention to all day, focus in on these words I'm about to say. Every property has a number. Your job is just to find out where that number is. What is that number? In other words, where does this property make sense? Where does this property make sense? Like, what number should I pay for it? Now, if you're doing this by hand, you got to start all the way over, spend another 20 minutes trying to figure this out. But because we're doing this with software, we can go and just change the number. So check this out. In fact, somebody asked the question, Mickey said, how much is that cash on cash return affected by a 10% down payment? Well, check this out. I don't know. Let's find out. Let's drop that to 10%. Just see what happens. What if we change nothing out, but nothing else, but only put down 10%? In like 10 seconds, we just figured out now we're only making $23 a month in cash flow because our mortgage is higher, which is only a 1.2% cash on cash return. Horrible deal. Okay, so how about this? What if we were to not offer them full price? What if instead I offered them far less? What if I offered them $54,900? And what if I put that same 20% down payment? I didn't change anything else other than I changed my purchase price from 74 to 54. Nothing else. Let's see what happens. Down here, calculate results. And here we go. Now we're looking at 149 in cash flow, but look at that, still only a 7% cash on cash return. So is it a bad deal? Well, check this out. I go down here to total return, because remember, this is where it gets a little bit confusing, but I want you guys to stick with me. What if the property, remember I said that the after repair value, in other words, what's it worth when it's fixed up, was $100,000? And I also put in that I believe every year it's going to go up by 2%. So what if I bought this property at 54 and I was only getting a 7% return? Only getting 7% return. But what if it's still worth $100,000, which means what if I bought it and then 4 years from now I sold it? What would I make? I could make $38,000 at that point. In other words, I would average a 25.9% return on investment. Well, 25.9% is pretty darn good in my book, right? So all of a sudden, this property seems a lot more interesting at this point. Now, there's a couple other things you can maybe change. Let's say you were somebody who maybe you wanted to manage yourself. Maybe you're like, you know what? I don't need to hire a property manager. I'm going to do it myself to save the money. So we're going to go down here. Let's just take out property management fees and take it down to 0. Does that sound good? Let's go calculate it now. Now, look at, I'm at $238 a month in cash flow and an 11.24% cash on cash return. Now it seems even better. It's getting better all the time. And especially if I look down here at my total return, I'm looking at all these cool numbers. You know, if I sold it after 4 years, I'm looking at 28% cash on cash, or, you know, deal, right? So is this deal worth it to me now at this point at $54,000? Heck yes, it is. Of course, like I would love to get a 25% return. Even though I'm really close to getting that 12%, I would probably sacrifice a little of my cash on cash return, hoping that in the long run, I've got equity in the property, right? Because I didn't pay full price. I only paid $54,000 for it. I got equity, which I like. So that's why I still care a lot about cash flow. Like I'm not saying buy a bad deal. I'm just saying there's more than just cash flow you should look into. At least consider it. The idea. So again, what if the cash flow was only $1 a month, but you bought this property for $1,000 and it's still worth $100,000? Well, yeah, it's a great deal, right? So there's a lot of factors that go into analyzing for cash flow that you need to be aware of. And that's where things like doing it by hand or on a spreadsheet can kind of run you into some trouble. Now, let me show you one more cool thing about this, this program, just in case you guys are curious and want to use it. Check this out. Down at the bottom here, click More Actions. And I can actually download a PDF report of this, or I can share a PDF report with people. So check this out. I'm gonna actually share this report with all you guys. So go look in your chat room. Right now in the chat room, there should be a link to this link right here. I just copied it and I'm gonna paste it in the chat room a few times. Like 4 times. So check that out. What you're gonna see is, I'll go over here and I'll just paste it in. Let me go to my, what you're going to see is this. Hopefully we don't crash the site, but check this out. You've got this PDF report that you can actually put your own logo up here, like your own company's logo. It shows all the pertinent numbers like the income, expenses, your cash flow, cap rate, cash on cash return, NOI, all the details somebody would want to see. Now, why is this valuable? Well, the reason I find it valuable is anytime that I'm doing a deal, I love to show these to my lenders. If I'm using a private money lender, I like to show it to my private money lender. If I'm using a bank, I'll give it to my bank. If I'm using a partner, I always give this to my partner. If I'm using, if I'm just want to convince my wife that I know what I'm doing, I'll give her this PDF report. I'll print it out and show it to her. You can actually upload photos as well, as many photos as you want. It shows you little graphs. It shows the charts. Basically what this does, guys, is it shows that you know what you're doing and what you're talking about, which I find incredibly helpful. It's a good way to build up like my confidence when I'm doing a deal. I want to make sure that I know my numbers, that my numbers accurately reflect what I'm trying to do. Now, earlier we talked about this idea of how if you analyze deals correctly, it can help you achieve that financial freedom you're looking for. Here's how. If you could get $250, let's say just $200 a month in cash flow on a property. If you could get $200 per month on a property, or I should say per unit, we can say, well, if you get $200 per month per unit, how many units would it take for you to achieve your financial freedom goals? Like if you needed $5,000 a month, how many units would you need at $200 a piece to get there? 25, right? So if you had 25 units at $200 a piece, that's $5,000 a month. There's your goal. And again, the thing I love about real estate is that you can analyze that ahead of time. So I talked earlier, I want to talk to you guys about my actual like process, and I actually have a slide for this, my deal analysis process. First of all, like here's how I look at all real estate as a process, right? So I look at everything like this. There are a lot of deals that are out there. There's thousands of potential properties in my area that I could buy, right? Thousands of them that are out there, but I'm not going to look at all of them. I'm only going to look at some of them. So for example, let's just say that I had, I don't know, let's just say we had 100 different properties that were for sale on the market in my area. that were on the market in my area. And out of those 100 deals, we take 50 of them and we analyze them. 50 of them to analyze. So we have 100 total. We take 50 to analyze. Now, out of those 50, let's just say that only 10 of them you looked even decent when you analyzed them. Like you analyzed them and you were like, oh, those are most of them are just a waste of time. But there's these 10 that look pretty close to what I could maybe, offer on. So let's say you made 10 offers. Out of those 10 offers, how many would get accepted? I don't know. You think maybe 1 out of 10 might get accepted? Maybe that's about what my company gets. So that's how exactly my process. So I look for deals, I get leads, I analyze them, I make offers on some of them, and then I get some of those offers accepted. And because of that, that's how we got 12 units last year. And we continue to buy properties. That's how most of the most savvy investors that I know, it's all mathematics. It's just a numbers game. If you get leads, you analyze them, you make offers, you get some accepted. And it really is as simple as that. So I have a process that we do. Every single day, we analyze deals. Me and my team are analyzing deals every single day. So the question is, like, are you willing to do that? And maybe you don't want to do it every day. Maybe you want to analyze 2 a day or 1 a day or 1 every other day, right? It doesn't take that long. It takes you 5 minutes. So are you willing to spare 5 minutes a day towards achieving your goals, towards achieving your financial future? I would hope so, right? I mean, it's 5 minutes a day, maybe 10 or 15 when you're first starting, but you'll get faster at it. But so many people aren't willing to do that work. Jim Rohn has this really good quote. He was a motivational speaker from the 80s. He said this, some people, I'm going to totally butcher this quote, but he basically says, if you want it bad enough, you'll find a way. If not, you'll find an excuse. So, I don't have time to analyze deals. That's an excuse, right? Of course you have time to analyze a deal. Just people don't take that. They find excuses instead because they don't really, truly want it. So that's what I recommend, guys, is get a process like I have. Start working that process. Now, I'm going to read you guys this quote. It's actually on your worksheet because I think this is such a powerful quote. This comes from The Miracle Morning from Hal Elrod. He wrote this: every result that you desire, from improving your physique, increasing your sales, is preceded by a process that is required to produce the result. When you define your process, this is huge, guys, listen to this. When you define your process and commit to it for an extended period of time, the results take care of themselves. I love that. I'm going to say, when you define your process and commit to it for an extended period of time, the results take care of themselves. Let me give you an example of that. I use this example on webinars all the time, but I'll do it again here. Let's say you want to lose weight. You want to lose 20 pounds. You could put up a picture on your billboard of a guy with a 6-pack abs, right? That's not going to get you there. You could put on Facebook, I'm going to lose 20 pounds. That is not going to get you there. You could order a magazine or go pay for some expensive coach to get you to lose weight. That's not going to get you there. What's going to get you there to lose that weight? A daily process. That's probably like low, reduce calories and exercise, right? Diet and exercise. If you have a daily process and if you just stick to that process, the results just take care of themselves. The same thing is true with real estate. If you commit to analyzing deals, if you commit to getting leads, if you commit to making offers, getting out there, looking at properties and making offers, you're going to get rejected a lot. But that's okay. You don't need to get every deal accepted. But if you're committed to that process, you're going to get your goal accomplished. You're going to get the number of properties you want. And isn't that like, again, the great thing about real estate is it's like this step-by-step thing towards achieving your goals. You're not betting that the market's going to like you. You're making your own destination. Like you are taking your life proactively versus just reacting to how everything comes to you. You're saying, I'm going to make a plan. I'm going to stick to a process. I'm going to do it. So are you guys willing to do that? Are you willing to stick to a process if it gets you closer to your goals? I mean, I hope you say yes, but not everyone will even say yes. A lot of people will say, it's kind of hard. I kind of want to watch my Dance with the Stars. It's key, guys. So my question to you is, why aren't you buying more deals this month? Why aren't you buying more deals? Why didn't you buy a deal already this year? Why don't you have one under contract right now? It's likely because you've not analyzed enough deals. You've not made enough offers. If you want to buy more properties, just make more offers on them, right? It's common sense, right? If you want to make more offers, just analyze some more deals. If you want to analyze more deals, just get more leads coming in. And there's a lot of ways to do that. In fact, I've done webinars on every part of this funnel. I've done webinars on how to get leads. I've done webinars on how to analyze. I've done webinars on how to, make put it all together and build a plan around it. And so there's books written on every part of this stuff. There's blog posts on Bigger Pockets about this. If you truly want it, you'll do it. And if you don't, you'll make an excuse. And there's over 1,000 people here tonight. There's 1,100 people here on this webinar right now. 1,100 people. How many of you guys are actually going to do a process? Like, I don't know. How many are you? Will you? And so like, and again, people come up with reasons why they can't. Things like, I don't have any money, right? I really wish somebody what I wish in life is that somebody wrote a book on how to invest in real estate without using your own money. Oh, wait. That's right. I did write that book. And there's like 1,000 blog posts written on it, right? There are ways to invest. I never had any money when I was building my real estate portfolio. I never had any money. I never put my own money into my deals. I found ways to do it because if you really want it, you'll do it. If not, you'll find an excuse. The most common excuses people have today is I don't have enough money and I don't have, three excuses. I don't have enough money, I don't have enough time, or I can't find any deals. All three of those are just excuses. Just excuses. Figure out a process to make each one of those work and you'll do fine. Can you spare 5, 10, 15 minutes a day? Can you wake up a little earlier? Can you take part of your lunch break to analyze a couple of deals every day? So for example, let me give you an example of a process that I want to encourage you guys to think deep about this process. Maybe this is something that you want to do. Analyze, I want to challenge you. This is a challenge we could say. I want to encourage you guys, analyze 3 deals a day. Analyze 3 deals every day. If you did that every day for the next month, you'd analyze almost 100 deals, right? We're rounding up a little bit, but analyze 3 deals every day for the next month. It'll take you 15, 20 minutes a day to analyze. I don't care even where you get the leads. Just go to realtor.com or Zillow or whatever. I don't care. Just analyze some deals every day. And then what if you were to make offers on just 10% of them? On just 10% of them. That's maybe 10 offers in a month. Could you get 10% of those accepted? Could you get 1 deal accepted? I would hope so. Oh, to go back to this again, every result, and even if you didn't get one accepted, even if you didn't get a deal after that, would you be better off as an investor having analyzed 100 deals and having made 10 offers? You would be significantly more advanced than you are today, right? You'd be so much more confident in what you're doing. So that's my challenge to you guys. So let me read this quote again, and I think it'll make more sense now. Every result you desire, from improving your physique to increasing your sales, is preceded by a process that is required to produce the result. When you define your process and commit to it for an extended period of time, the results take care of themselves. There's no need to stress or worry about how a day, week, or even a month of selling goes, in this case, buying, so long as you're committed to the process over the long haul. So, like Hal said, when you define your process and commit to it for an extended period of time, the results take care of themselves. Now, guys, this is not just theory. I understand that when I teach this stuff, I talk about this stuff a lot because I'm so passionate about this idea of a process. Like, this is not some like pie in the sky theory. Pay me, $999,000 a year, and I'll take. Like, this is real life. This is how I built my business and how thousands or even millions of other investors have built their business. This is how people like me and thousands of others have found financial freedom. They go out there, they analyze deals correctly, and they collect enough rental properties to support their lifestyle. Like, my goal, like I said at the beginning of this webinar, was to spend more time with my kids when I had them. My second goal was to be able to travel whenever and wherever I want. And so I typically travel now, like, because of what real estate has done for me, I leave a good like third of the year I'm somewhere. Like, in fact, I'm going to Canada this week and I'm going to the Caribbean in 2 weeks. And then I'm spending a month in Hawaii in a couple months from now. We're spending the whole month there. Why? Because real estate has given me the financial freedom to be able to do those things. Now, I don't say that to brag. I do that to explain to you guys that real estate can give you the life that you want if you work it. If you work it, and that's the key here. It's not just going to come to you. You can't just chant and hope and pray your way there. You got to get out there and do it. And what that looks like is a daily process of analyzing deals. So are you going to analyze those deals? I hope so, right? But a lot of you won't. A lot of you will still make the mistake of, well, it looks like a pretty house to me, I'll buy it. And a lot of you guys will struggle because of that. But I want to encourage you guys not to. I want to encourage you, don't make the mistakes that I did. Don't buy the hell house that I did, that terrible flip, the Martin disaster. Don't do that. Now, there are 2 ways to work the process. There is the slow, boring, like do it all by hand, analyze 1 deal tomorrow, another one next month, another one next year, and maybe 10 years from now, you'll really buy it. Or there's a more efficient way, a streamlined process. And that's what I want to encourage you guys to do, is get out there and start analyzing those deals. So here are 3 big questions to kind of start wrapping us up. We're not actually quite done. I know we're at the hour mark and I was hoping to be done by now. I got probably 15 minutes more and I got still to come. I got the final door prizes, including that 7 Years to Seven-Figure Wealth book. I've got Q&A time at the end and stick around for that. So we got probably like, 10 or 15 minutes more. You guys cool with sticking around for that? Are we cool? All right, because this is important stuff. So I got 3 questions to kind of help summarize where we're at so far. 3 questions. I want you to actually answer this in the chat area, and then we'll go Q&A. So in the chat area, go ahead and answer this. I'll turn the chat on public again. Number 1, will you start analyzing deals correctly? Will you start analyzing deals correctly? Are you committed to analyzing deals correctly and not being stupid? I hope so. Secondly, will you commit to a process for analyzing deals regularly? Maybe even every day. And third question, will you do what it takes? In other words, will you do the work needed to achieve your financial goals? Do you understand this is not something that just happens to people, right? Another quote from Jim Rohn, he said, life does not get better by chance. It gets better by change. Life does not get better by chance, get better by change. So will you do what it takes to do it? So again, 3 questions. Will you start analyzing correctly? Will you commit to a process for analyzing deals regularly? And will you do what it takes? If you can answer yes to those 3 questions and you actually follow through with your word, you're going to do amazing. Now, I don't know why you all came here today. There's a lot of reasons you guys are here. A lot of you are in different situations and I don't even understand. But one thing that I do understand about everybody is this. Like whether you're a person who's tired of working your full-time job, or you're a person who needs to just start preparing for your retirement, or maybe you're tired of being an entrepreneur, here's the one thing I know. That my goal at Bigger Pockets is to help you reach your goals. Like that's what my goal is here. I want to help you get there. No matter where you come at in life, I want to help you get there. And to help you with that, we've created some tools to help you get there faster and with less pain. Because look, I understand that real estate investing is scary, right? It feels like you're jumping off this massive cliff. You're diving, right? Everybody feels that way, no matter where you're at in your investing, no matter what person you are, where your situation is, it feels like you're jumping off a little bit of a cliff. But that's not what real estate is. That's a lie. Real estate is like a path. It's a hike through the woods, up a mountain, down a valley, but it is a path that's been well worn by thousands of people before, and thousands of people are coming after you, and we're all walking the same journey together. I want to encourage you guys with that you can do this. And that is my goal here, that we're here to help. And at Bigger Pockets, like I said earlier, we have all this education for you just to learn, this webinars, the podcasts. Like I've said, I've done these webinars over and over and over and over and over. I've done like podcasts. We've done 200 and some episodes. We've got books, blog posts, forums designed to help you walk that path. But if you guys want to do this even better, if you want to have less pain, if you want to get there faster, make fewer mistakes, like I want to help you guys get there. Now, I know, like I said, real estate feels like this. This is what it really is. It's a path. And so we've created some tools to help you guys walk that path a little bit easier. Specifically, those tools are through our Bigger Pockets Pro memberships. And I know a lot of you are already pro members, and a lot of you are using this stuff all the time. We've got thousands of Bigger Pockets Pro members, and I know many of you guys are here today. But if you're not a pro member, let me take 3 minutes to explain why maybe you want to become one. Again, choice is totally up to you, but I firmly believe a Bigger Pockets Pro membership could help you make less mistakes, not buy crappy deals like I did, and actually help you buy better ones by analyzing. But let me explain what you get with a pro membership. So how can Bigger Pockets Pro help you find that success? Well, first of all, as a pro member, you can make smarter decisions with the Bigger Pockets property analysis tools. So you can screen for really good deals that are going to help you achieve your goals, find out the number that works, and you can avoid buying the deals that are going to hurt you. Because, I mean, some deals will hurt you, right? Some deals actually will hurt. And I don't want you guys to get hurt. So are you going to do that? And can analyze those deals? I hope so. Secondly, as a pro member, you can connect with people who can help you succeed. You can find lenders, you can find partners, you can find investors, agents, and more through Bigger Pockets Meet. It is our searching and sorting tool just for pro members on the site. Go to biggerpockets.com/meet and check it out. It's amazing. You can find people all over the site who can help you succeed. Third, as a pro member, you save money on tools and services that you need. So if you need to get tenant screening, if you need to build a website or whatever, you can save money through Bigger Pockets perks. You can also, as a pro member, post your needs or haves in the marketplace. So if you got a deal or if you're looking for a deal, go post about it in the marketplace. It's a fantastic place. That one of the most popular pages on all of Bigger Pockets is this marketplace. So if you're looking for a duplex in Cincinnati, go post in the marketplace tonight. Looking for a duplex in Cincinnati. If anybody has one, hit me up. Also, as a pro member, this is huge, guys, show the world you're serious about taking action. When you get that little pro badge next to your name and you add the little custom forum signature, and you can upload a profile video to your actual profile. Those things tell everybody on BiggerPockets that you are serious about this. You're not going to be, next week watching Dance with the Stars, eating nachos on the couch, right? Like, you're in this to win it. You're in it for the long haul. You're not selling Mary Kay products next week and Tupperware the week after, because you are committed to this. And I think that's probably even more important than the calculators, is this jumping in and saying, look, I'm serious about this. I want to go all in. I want to work with people on the site. I want to meet people. I want to connect. I want to be all in. Also, you can download unlimited files and forms. You can access to the pro-only BiggerPockets forum. You can even set up more keyword alerts for things that you care about at BiggerPockets alerts. And you get unlimited access to all the past BiggerPockets webinars. So if you enjoyed today's webinar, if you learned a lot, there's a whole lot more where that came from. I mean, I've done webinars on like how to make $1 million, how to quit your job, how to use BRRRR investing, how to find deals, how to fund deals when you don't have any money. In fact, there's one I recently did called My 3 Favorite Low Money Down Strategies. Go watch that. If you don't have any money, go watch that. Pro members can watch unlimited webinar replays. You don't have to just show up live like this. So an example of one of those webinars I wanted to show you guys, I just mentioned the how to make $1 million. Dennis wrote this to me. This is an example of somebody who took action after a webinar and went and did it. Dennis said, hey, Brandon, want to thank you and BP. After attending your webinar on how to make $1 million in real estate, I got inspired to take action. So last week I closed my first deal. I now have a triplex that is rented and will cash flow very well for me. I can now call myself a real estate investor. I have a plan moving forward that will make my business a success. So you guys, I bring that up for 2 reasons. One, because I want to brag about how cool that webinar is on how to make $1 million. Go watch that one tonight if you're a pro member. But more than that, Dennis is a guy that he watched the webinar and he didn't just learn, right? He didn't just learn and then go back to watching Dancing with the Stars, sitting on his couch eating nachos. Dennis went out there and he went and bought a property based on what he learned. So my question to you guys, are you guys going to sit here and learn something today and then not take action on it? Or are you going to do what I said and go start analyzing properties? Go out in there and doing it. Now, back to the BiggerPockets Pro thing. If you are somebody who's committed, I want to recommend BiggerPockets Pro can help you guys. If you are somebody who needs to maximize your time, if you need partners, lenders, or special advice, if you want to analyze a lot of deals this year, if you want to build that process, if you want to invest this year, not 10 years from now, not 20 years from now, if you're ready now or in the next year to be able to invest, I want to encourage you guys to jump into BiggerPockets Pro. And if you want to find great deals, not just mediocre ones, if you want to analyze for the best, come to BiggerPockets Pro. Here's one more example of somebody who signed up for Pro and then they used that exact process I talked about. They said, just wanted to say thank you for the webinar. It was very informative and gave me several good ideas. I signed up for Pro and I used the calculators you demonstrated to evaluate and make offers on 2 deals I found. One was accepted. Woohoo! Currently listed on the marketplace. The other, the seller was unyielding in price even after I showed them the numbers. Oh well, their loss. So again, just wanted to say hello and thanks. You know what I love about that? It perfectly shows that funnel, right? They started making offers, they started analyzing deals, and they got something accepted, right? So they signed up for Pro, they used the calculator, they analyzed, they got a couple deals. And you know my favorite part of that whole story is that they didn't get one of their deals accepted. They didn't let emotion cause them to buy a bad deal. I love getting these messages. I love hearing these stories from people. And I want to encourage you guys who are sitting here on this webinar tonight, whether you sign up for Pro or not, in a few months from now, when you guys start buying your properties, when you take action on the stuff you learned tonight, send me an email like that. Say, hey, Brandon, I was on your webinar a month ago, a week ago, 2 months ago, whatever, and you were talking about analyzing deals. I went out there and I did it. I took action. I did the process. I started analyzing. I started making offers, and I just bought my first property, or I just bought my 10th property, or whatever. I want to encourage you guys, go out there and let me know when you find that success, because I love bragging about you guys. I love being able to congratulate you and kind of give you a virtual high five and stuff. So very, very cool stuff. So make sure you guys do that. When you guys start getting that success, let me know. I love hearing about it. So how much is BiggerPockets Pro? So BiggerPockets Pro is not the $100,000, $50,000, $20,000 or $10,000 guru coaching things that you probably see online. Like, these are actual numbers that some of the gurus will charge you for education. We don't believe in that stuff at BiggerPockets. Like I said, we do not believe in that. So BiggerPockets Pro is $290 a year. It's $290 per year. Again, that's not per month, that's per year. However, I do have a discount if you guys are interested in going Pro. If you guys are like, you know what, I thought about it and I think BiggerPockets Pro can help me in my business avoid a bad deal or maybe buy another 1 or 2 properties this year. I want to encourage you guys, tonight is the night to do that because I have a discount code for you to use tonight. So if you guys are interested, you can get 20% off your Pro membership if you use coupon code 118 when you're checking out. There's actually a little button on your screen if you're watching this on a computer that says view upgrade options. If you click that, it'll take you to the page where you can enter in code 118. You get 20% off your annual pro membership. So what's $290 actually works out to $232, which if you do the math actually works out to 65 cents a day. So we're talking about less than a cup of coffee, and you could be a BiggerPockets Pro member and analyze unlimited deals. But just to encourage you guys, if you guys are on the fence, you're thinking about, maybe I'll do it. I want to encourage you guys why tonight is the ideal night to go pro. So I've got actually a collection of bonuses to help you guys, to encourage you that tonight is the night. First of all, the most expensive thing in all BiggerPockets that we sell is this 2012 BiggerPockets conference audio. It's over 25 hours of audio training that we recorded at our BiggerPockets conference. Now we sell this for $300 in the BiggerPockets store, but we're including that tonight for free for anybody who upgrades to Pro. Not only Pro Annual, anybody who upgrades to Pro Annual gets the 20% off their annual membership, but they also get this $300 value included tonight. So you can start listening to that tonight. I mean, that alone is worth more than the cost of your first year of Pro. But in addition to that, a lot of you guys struggle with this idea you've mentioned earlier about you don't have enough money to invest, right? So to include with this as well, anybody who upgrades to Pro tonight will get a free digital copy of the book on investing in real estate with no and low money down. That's a $19 value you guys can get included tonight. You can read it on your Kindle, iPad, whatever. That's included for anybody who goes Pro tonight. So make sure you guys download that and then read it. Or if you don't want to read it, listen to it, because we're also including the digital audio book of that book as well. And so you can listen in your car or while you're walking the dog or while you're doing the dishes. Use that downtime as education time to learn how to invest in real estate without using a lot of your own money. Bonus number 5 and 6. So I did these interviews with these guys like Ben Leibovich, Chad Carson, Jay Scott, Doug Larson, Mike Simmons, Michael Blanc, and Aaron Mazzarello. And I basically asked them, hey guys, how do you invest in real estate without using your own cash? And they explain everything. They walk through their whole strategies step by step so you guys can learn how they do it so you can create your own strategy based on what they've done. It's amazing. And then the other excuse people have all the time is I can't find any deals. I can't get any leads. I don't know what to analyze. So I actually wrote a short ebook. You can read it in under an hour called How to Find Incredible Real Estate Deals. And it just walks you through the most common methods that I use to find great deals. So how do you use driving for dollars? How do you use direct mail marketing? And how do you use a good real estate agent to find deals? How do you get the deals that nobody else can? This book is going to help you guys. Now, bonus number 7 is I did a 2-hour video recording called Investing in Real Estate with No and Low Money Down live. Now, this is 2 hours where you and I are sitting down and I'm just explaining how I built my portfolio using other people's money. So if you guys want to know how I did it, if you want to see actual numbers, pictures, in details explaining how I was able to buy like a 24-unit apartment building using 4 different creative strategies, this video is going to walk you through every bit of that. It's over 2 hours long. You guys will love it. So, but again, to get all this stuff, you do have to upgrade to BiggerPockets Pro Annual. You get 20% off plus all that cool stuff. And I will say this also, if you guys are somebody who does upgrade to Pro, I want to encourage you guys, let me know in the chat room. Let me know in the chat room that you upgraded, and I want to give you guys a special shout out. And especially put an exclamation mark in your message, and I'll be even more excited. So again, last quick rundown of what you get by upgrading to Pro tonight. If you use coupon code 118 and go to Pro Annual, you're gonna get 20% off your annual membership. You'll get the 2012 conference audio. You'll get to watch all those webinar replays whenever you want. You get the digital No and Low Money Down book. You get the digital No and Low Money Down audiobook, those MP3 video interviews, how to find incredible deals, digital bonus book, and the 2-hour video investing with real estate with No and Low Money Down live. All those things combined, it's over $500 in value. You guys get that tonight at no extra charge just for going Pro Annual. Now, if you're already a pro, just go to biggerpockets.com/audio pro. You can download that conference audio. And I actually have a new link. If you're already a pro member, go to biggerpockets.com/webinar. Write this down, biggerpockets.com/webinar. So that slide's actually old. I need to update that. biggerpockets.com/webinar/bonus. Again, biggerpockets.com/webinar/bonus. If you're already a pro member, enter in code 118 and you get all the goodies as well. Now, again, none of this counts for Plus, but if you are, and I don't recommend Plus anyway, unless you only want to use the marketplace, but Plus doesn't get full access to the calculator, so I generally don't recommend it. But if you are a Plus member, you can upgrade to Pro and get the same deal and get all that goodies too. But like I said, this is only for an annual membership. So if you guys jump into monthly, you still get 20% off, but you won't get the rest of it. So make sure you guys jump annual. And also annual, I recommend that anyway, just because, honestly, it's like, Are you committed to this or not? Right? Are you going to be selling Mary Kay products next month or not? Like, jump in with both feet. It's cheaper in the long run going annual. You get all the bonuses anyway. And if you don't like it, we offer a 30-day money back guarantee anyway. So let us know in, 29 days, hey, it didn't work out. Keep all the bonuses and keep your, and get a refund on your pro membership. So there really is absolutely nothing to risk here at all. And you just get the bonuses, even if you don't keep your pro membership. So try it out. Let me know what you think. All right, so I'm going to leave this page up. We're going to do Q&A here in a second. Got our final door prizes to hand out. But again, guys, coupon code is 118 if you upgrade. Here's our final door prizes. Here was the first one, the first door prize that I gave out earlier, but I'll say it again. biggerpockets.com/books. biggerpockets.com/books. Door prizes number 2 and 3. Go to biggerpockets.com/118 slides. Again, that's 118 slides. 118 slides. And biggerpockets.com/7 years. I'm going to leave this up for just a second before we do Q&A. And I'm going to give a couple of shout outs. But here, if you guys got questions, Q&A questions, do me a favor. When you leave the question, there's a little drop down button next to where you leave a question that gives you the ability to attach a little red question mark to it. I don't know exactly what that looks like, but you should see it there somewhere. If you see that, the little red question mark just helps the question stand out. So I might get to yours a little bit better. But anyway, so a couple big quick shout outs. Let's see. Austin said already upgraded. Woohoo. Ruth already went pro. Woohoo. Tony upgraded. Austin just did. Carrie DeVere, I'm upgraded. Renald with 50 exclamation marks. That's awesome. Welcome. Carolina will upgrade tonight. Whoop, whoop. Josh said upgraded. Whoop, whoop. Let's see. Leo upgraded to pro tonight. Yahoo. I love Yahoo. Remember to write out the expenses, peeps. Carrie said that. Yeah, so I'm not a CPA, so I can't tell you that it's tax deductible, but I can tell you that my CPA told me that it was deductible on the Bigger Pockets podcast. I use Amanda Hahn. She's she's my CPA. She also wrote the book on tax strategies for the savvy real estate investor. And when we were on the podcast with her, she had said that she believes that if you use your pro membership for business, you can deduct it. But again, I'm not a CPA, so I'm not telling you that. All right, so a couple of the shout outs, and then we'll do the Q&A. So let's see. Where was I? Oh yeah. Let's see. Mark upgrading Austin. Woohoo. Rob said, sounds like an amazing deal. I think so. Tony said, just purchase. Looking forward to learning everything. Awesome. Monique, Lee, Brian, Zachary. Rock on, guys. Let's see. Zach, ready to make some deals. Just went pro annually. Patricia upgraded to pro. Welcome, you guys. Henry said, already a pro. Whoop, whoop. Remember, guys, if you're already a pro, go to biggerpockets.com/webinar/bonus. You get all those cool bonuses. You just have to put in code 118 there as well. All right. Let's see. Rich said upgraded. Whoop, whoop. Walter asked for CapEx details. Yeah, let's talk about CapEx. So capital expenditures. How do you figure out what to do for that? It is a tough. Oh, before I answer this question, by the way, this coupon code expires on Friday night. So today is Wednesday. If you're watching this live, you have until Friday night at midnight. So the 20th. So upgrade by then. But if you do so for tonight, let me know in the chat area. I like to give shout outs. So CapEx. So here's the deal. Every property breaks down over time. We want to do that. So I've done the math, and I know other people have as well. And we figured out that typically we like to use between 100 and 200 a month for CapEx. Now, if you buy a brand new house, maybe it's going to be way less than that, right? Because CapEx tends to come in waves. So if I fix up a house really, really nice, I'll usually use way less CapEx, maybe even down to 50 a month. But if I don't fix the house up really, really nice, then maybe I'll do a higher, 150. Now, if you want to read a blog post where I talk a lot about CapEx, let me show you where I can find that. So I'm going to go over here to our calendar real quick. Sorry, not calendar, calculator. So you remember here, I was on this calculator right here. I'm going to go over to edit report. I'm going to go to page 3 of the calculator. And by the way, if you want to get more details on how to analyze deals, watch this video. You can watch an example of me doing it again if you want to see more in depth. But okay, check this out. So go down here to page 3 where it talks about CapEx. Hover over the question mark. And right here it says, CapEx, short for capital expenditures, are the large, less than frequent improvements done to a property, such as roofs, parking lots, siding, or appliances. CapEx will depend on numerous factors like property type, location of the property, and the age of the property. Then check this out. In blue, more on estimating CapEx. Click that. You're going to land on a blog post here called How to Estimate Future CapEx Expenses on a Property. And this is an article I wrote in April. In fact, I'm going to try to share it with all of you guys if I can. How do I do this? All right, hold on. All right, so I'm going to reply to Walter, but I'm going to do it to everybody. I just put it in the chat area, so hopefully that showed up there. Actually, yeah, okay. So anyway, if you want to know more about that, it's in here. I talk a lot about CapEx though, kind of how you add it up, how you figure things out. Like here's kind of some numbers that you look at. Like how do we come up with that number of $100 and some a month? Like here, 182. Like how do we come up with those numbers? This explains how to kind of do it. So check that out. You guys will learn a lot about CapEx, but it's a pretty important number to be able to know how to analyze. All right, back over to our Q&A. Christian said, how do you track analyzed properties over time? So check this out. So if you go back over here, go to calculators, go up to tools and click on the word tools. And then in here, go down to view my previous reports. So if I click this, like, let's go to the Burr calculator, previous report, I click on this, and I'm actually gonna have all my past analyses in here. And so this is just like Burr ones, house flip ones, rental property ones. I can see some of the analysis that we've done are in here. And so then I can scroll down, I can track them all. You can even check this out. You can even click offer made, offer accepted, was the deal closed? And if so, I can even add it to my portfolio. BiggerPockets has a portfolio tracker as well that pro members can use. So, or I could not do that. So yeah, just one little easy way to do it. Kind of cool there. So check that out. By the way, also, I'll show you guys this as long as we're here, as long as you're looking at my screen. If you go to education, go down to webinars and go to webinar archive. Then you scroll down. These, I want to encourage you guys, if you guys have not yet watched this one, if you're a pro member or you upgrade tonight, do me a favor and watch this webinar, how to make 2017 your best real estate investing year ever. This was probably my favorite webinar I've ever done. It's an hour and 44 minutes. Book out an hour and 45 minutes of time. This webinar will change your life. All right, so there's also ones on how a newbie can start investing, how to use BiggerPockets better, how to generate $5,000 a month from single family houses, 5 things to know before buying a rental property, and 8 more pages here. So we've got things like my 3 favorite low money down strategies for real estate investing. We've got how to buy your first or next rental in the next 90 days, how to invest while working a full-time job, how to find incredible deals in a competitive market. So there's topics on all sorts of issues. You guys, if you want to know more, just go to the Pro Replay Room and watch these if you're a pro member. All right, down here, what else we got here? Let's see. Bao said, how do you effectively find deals? Should we do yellow letters, Redfin, MLS? So good question. So there's a lot of ways to find deals. Like I said, I did an entire webinar on it. If you want to learn more, go watch that. There's so many ways. So what I would recommend is start with the MLS. It's easy to start with the MLS. Find a real estate agent. MLS stands for multiple listing service. It's where all the agents put their properties. So get a real estate agent if you don't have one. Okay, you guys, if you guys don't have a real estate agent, let's make this really simple right now. I want to give you guys a task, a chat right now to do. Ready? Go to your Facebook right now. I know I said stay off your Facebook, but go there right now, real quick. Go to Facebook and then go type this in. Hey, family and friends, I'm looking for a good real estate agent around the, insert your town here, area. Does anybody have any good recommendations? And let your family and friends recommend some people. Simple, easy task. You don't have to commit to anything. Just go post it on Facebook right now and see who you can find. If you don't have an agent, go do that today. Deal? Okay. I would start there, at least start there, start analyzing deals. Direct mail marketing can be a great way to find deals. Driving for dollars can be a great way to find deals. Wholesalers can be a great way to find deals. There are so many ways to find deals. Just pick one or two and just go with it. Learn everything you can about it. Go watch a webinar just on that topic, or go read a book on that topic, or read a blog post or a forum conversation, and just start doing it, right? Just start doing it. All right. What else we got here? Do you develop land for multifamily rentals? I do not, but I am not opposed to doing it someday. Let's see. Ashley said, I've submitted 6 offers this month. So far, I've been beaten out of 2, and I've not heard anything from the others. Ashley, keep it up. I'm not saying fire off like crappy offers, and you're probably doing, but you're doing exactly what I suggest. Just put offers out there and just see what happens. And like, it's just a numbers game. I typically will make 10 offers before I get one accepted. So don't get discouraged. Just know that, get out there and maybe you need to find like a different source of leads. If you really can't get them, maybe you're offering in a too crowded marketplace. So maybe you need to go off market to get those offers. But just keep making offers, keep finding leads, and try to get more and more competitive on how you find them. All right. In the calculator, what does NOI stand for? Good question. NOI stands for net operating income. Now, it's what net operating income is, basically, is how much money is left over to pay the mortgage. So if you were to have $1,000 a month in income and you were to pay $500 out in operating expenses, which means everything but the mortgage, you're left with $500. That $500 is your net operating income. Now, typically we use that in an annual term. So you could say my net operating income is $50,000 a year. To meaning I have $50,000 to pay the mortgage. So that's what NOI is. It's very helpful, especially in commercial investing. When you get into larger multifamilies or commercial properties, it's a very helpful number there. All right. Chandler asked, would you recommend partnering with a friend? Partnering 50-50 everything. Chandler, that's actually one of my favorite strategies. I love partnerships if you have the right partner, and that's key. It can be really hard to find the right partner. So make sure you guys do your due diligence. In fact, there's an entire chapter in the book on investing in real estate with no and low money down, which people get by upgrading to Pro tonight, the digital copy of that. There's a whole chapter on partnerships in there. Read that chapter. I built much of my portfolio using partners. I'm a big fan of it. All right. Mark said, does vacancy percentage vary by state, or is it roughly similar across the board? It can definitely vary. I mean, if you live in the middle of nowhere and you have a vacant property, it could take a lot longer to rent. If you live in a market that's very, very competitive, like, I mean, there's tons of rentals and not as many people looking for rentals, yeah, your vacancy might be higher. That said, typically, I usually see it between 5 and 10%. I mean, most of the country is between 2 and 10%. But in extreme areas, it might be extreme one way or extreme another. In Denver, it's like 1% because everyone's looking for a property, especially in a good market like today. But 10 years ago, back in 2007, vacancy rates were like 10 or 15% sometimes. Also, if you're willing to hustle more, like we hustle really hard, our vacancy rate is actually like 2%. If not, maybe not even that, maybe 1% sometimes. Because when a property goes empty, it's filled like the next day. We hustle hardcore to get our units filled. We're very, very effective on getting our units filled. In fact, that's why we wrote an entire book on managing properties, because we're very effective at it. But a property manager is not as effective. They're much slower. So for a property manager, I usually go a little bit higher, maybe 7 or 10% for vacancy. All right. Elliot said, how do you know what a property is worth after the rehab? So that we call the ARV. You know that by looking at what other similar properties have sold for that are similar. So in fact, you know the property we looked at tonight? So let me tell you guys a little secret about that property, or interesting point about that property. That property actually was like 6 months ago on the market. It wasn't even that recent. Like I did this webinar 6 months ago and I just revamped it for tonight and I kind of structured it, but I used the same example. That property today is actually worth about 140. The market has climbed so much in the past like 6 months. It's crazy. I should have bought that deal. I kind of kicked myself for not buying it. I made an offer of 54,000. They didn't take it. I probably could have offered 74 and I would have been actually sitting pretty, but whatever. So anyway, so how do I know what it's worth? How do I know today it's worth 140? Because I've sold multiple houses in that neighborhood for like over that. I sold a house nearby for 165. I know other people have sold houses in the 140s, the 130s, the 150s. So I know that houses are typically worth what other houses have sold for. That's how you figure out ARV. And if you want help with that, go to, remember in the calculator, there was that one option. Let me show you again. So in the calculator, oh, did I close it? I closed it. Let me go back. Let's go back here. All right, in the calculator, if I hit edit report, it was on page 2 under after repair value. Click the question mark and click estimating ARV primer. It'll take you to a file in the file place that is a 10-page document on how to figure out ARV. It's fantastic. I also wrote an entire section on it in the book on investing in real estate with no and low money down. If you want to know more, you can check that book out. But a whole section in the wholesaling chapter, you'll learn about that there. All right, so a couple more questions, a couple more shout outs. First of all, let's see. Chris Robinson just upgraded to Pro from Austin, Texas. Welcome. Bettina just went Pro. Awesome. Jay just signed up for Pro. Natasha, yes, we are signing up. Whoop, whoop. Albert, now a Pro. Natasha and Chad, welcome to Pro, you guys. Let's see. Ruben, let's see. Natasha said, first time listening to you and we are signing up. That's awesome, Natasha. And I love the exclamation marks and the capitals. I love people excited, right? Like I get excited about real estate because this is like life-changing stuff. And some people are like, yeah, real estate, whatever. Like they're all like bummed out, but I'm like, this is life-changing stuff. Like this stuff seriously changes lives. And like, I don't know, I get excited about this stuff. So I love people who are excited about this. Ruben said, how do you go around the mortgage loan limits? How do you go around those mortgage loan limits? So typically what Ruben means by that is Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, which are kind of pseudo government corporations. They're like, they limit you to 10 properties. Now, some limit you to 4 properties. Some banks will say only 4, but most banks today are saying 10. So once you get to 10 properties, how do you keep investing? I mean, there's so many ways. I mean, I've used partners sometimes. Partners can have 10 and I can have 10 and my wife can have 10. Now we got a bunch right there, right? Commercial properties sometimes, commercial lenders, I should say, will not care about the 10 rule. Portfolio lenders don't care about the 10 rule. I also, what I've been doing recently is I've been selling some of the crappier older properties that I don't want anymore so I can buy new ones that are better. So I can get, what my goal is to get 10 golden properties on 30-year fixed mortgages. That's like the main part of my portfolio will be those 10. And then I'll have a bunch of commercial properties as well. But I want 10 single family or small multifamilies on fixed mortgages. And I'm kind of weeding out the bad ones and buying better ones to make sure that my 10 are the best. So that's kind of how I'm doing that. All right. What else we got here? Let's see. Oh, let me give you a couple more details, by the way. Let's see. A couple more details. Let me show you guys something real quick. Let me share my screen with you again, and then we're gonna get out of here in like 2. I'll do 2 more questions. But here I want to show you one more thing. If you guys upgrade to Pro, I want to make sure you guys see this. Pro upgrade. If you go to biggerpockets.com/pro upgrade to upgrade, make sure you guys put in that coupon code 118 here. And then click apply coupon. If you don't click apply coupon, you won't get the 20% off. But if you did it correctly, it should say rock on 20% off applied. And this should change to $232 yearly. And then you're going to land on this page that looks like this. This page has all your downloads, including the book. So this download right here, the free book of the book on invested with no and low money down, this includes the other book on how to find incredible deals. So download this. This has a couple of those things inside. Then you got the audiobook, the webinar, the interviews, the conference audio. And below that, there's videos down here. I want to encourage you guys, watch these videos like this one. It's me welcoming you to Pro and telling you a little bit about your Pro membership. Below that are videos on explaining how to use your Pro membership. So check this out. Here's how to use the marketplace. Here's how to use the analysis software. Ooh, fancy. It takes you right there. So yeah, here's how to use the analysis software. You can walk through that and actually walk you through the whole process. Next one, here's how to use webinar replays. Anyway, watch these videos, guys. It'll take you like 15 minutes to watch them all, but you will learn how to use your Pro membership and get the most out of it. Because if you're not using your Pro membership, then why do you have it, right? So my big thing with Pro is this. Here's my big argument, is that if a Pro membership can help you buy one better deal ever, or it can help you not buy one bad deal in your entire life, it pays for itself over and over and over and over again. BiggerPockets Pro is $290 a year. With your 20% off, it's $232 per year. That 20% off is reoccurring. Every year you get 20% off your Pro membership as long as you keep it, which is awesome. And it locks in that low price. So when BiggerPockets Pro goes up in price, you get locked in on the lower price. But the cool thing is, again, that's locked in. But if it helps you just one time buy a better deal or not buy a better deal, but it only works if you use it. So use it. Watch those videos. Learn how to use it. All right, let's go do more questions and we'll get out of here. Oh, Michael asked, are the calculators free or for Pro members only? So the calculators are for Pro members. Free members can get 5 uses of it. If you're a free member, you can go use it up to 5 times for free. You can even log out and use it for free, but you can't see the whole results. But if you want unlimited access to it and be able to do the PDF reports and all that, you do have to be a Pro member to be able to do that. All right, let's go 2 more questions, and I'm getting out of here. Question number 1 from Scott. He said, what are your thoughts on out-of-state investing? So if you live in an area that's very expensive, it can be hard to find good deals. I totally understand that. So here's my thinking. First of all, you could always, before you go out of state, consider looking around you first. For example, if you live in Seattle, it's really expensive to buy there. But an hour and a half away where I live, it's really cheap. So you don't have to necessarily go across the country. You could just drive 2 hours to find a property, right? So maybe look in the 2 hours surrounding you first before you go out of state. Secondly, if you're going to go out of state, you could do it. Just make sure you run your numbers really, really well. And I would recommend either buying in an area that you have boots on the ground. You have people there that you could partner with. or you could work with, or you could hire to do work. Like maybe like if I couldn't buy in my area, I would probably buy in Minnesota. Why? Because I'm from there. I grew up in Minnesota. My parents live there. My brother lives there. My sister lives there. I'd probably invest there because I could have my brother do work for me if I needed to. He could go and check out the property if there's a problem. Or consider using what's called a turnkey company. Now, these turnkey companies are usually in the Midwest, and they buy properties, they fix them up, and then they sell them to you, and then they manage them for you. In other words, they do all the work, and you just get to sit back and make a check, do a down payment, and then buy the properties. Now, the danger with turnkey is that you have to do your own numbers. Don't trust a turnkey company's numbers, because I've seen so many bad numbers from turnkey companies. They just conveniently forget things like repairs or vacancy or CapEx. And so what you think is a good deal is actually a terrible deal. So yeah, out-of-state investing can work. I know people who do it great. Just make sure you run your own numbers. All right, couple more questions. Or one more question I'm going to do. Let's see, find a good one for the end. By the way, Crystal said she just went pro, and Vishal Hazel said, I'm going pro, bro. That's awesome. Andre said going pro. That's awesome. Welcome. Let's see. Carrie said, is there a number to call for assistance if the website, I'm not sure Pro Upgrade worked correctly? Yeah, Carrie, just email support, SUPPORT at biggerpockets.com. We have a support team that works 24/7, like around the clock. They're always helping. They're super, super helpful, and they'll respond within like an hour or two. They're amazing. So if you're not sure if it worked out okay, email support at biggerpockets.com. They'll help you out. All right. Let's see. What else we got here? All right. Wow. There's a lot of questions still. This is not the last question, but just to clarify, Nancy asked, is the limit 10 per bank or 10 total? 10 total per person. So if you have 10 properties financed through a Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac type bank, it's 10 total. But there's so many ways around that. It's crazy. Shay said, already a pro member. It's worth it. Thanks, Shay. That's awesome. Welcome. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, here's a really good question. Here's my last question of the day. But before I get to it, I do want to say this. Thank you guys for showing up today. There's still 560 people here, even an hour and 40 minutes into this thing, which is crazy. Usually most people drop off like when we start the Q&A part, but you guys are still here. You guys are awesome. Oh, Ramsey said upgraded with a ton of question marks. I have to make sure to give him a shout out. And John Davis. Woohoo. All right. So if you guys are thinking about going pro, remember, we do offer a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you don't like it within the first 30 days, let us know. Keep your pro membership. Keep your bonuses. So try it out. The coupon code does expire on Friday night, though, so keep that in mind. Secondly, come back next week. We're doing another webinar next week. Every Wednesday, I do these webinars, except for in like 3 weeks. I think I'm going to skip a week. I'm going to be out of the country. And man, you guys just remember, like, it's all about what you take action on. So go out there and take action on something you learned tonight. Don't just learn and then go back to watching your The Bachelor on TV, eating nachos on the couch, right? I stopped picking on Dancing with the Stars for a little bit. Go out there and take some action. Get off the couch and go find some properties. Go walk through them. Get a real estate agent. Start making offers. Start analyzing deals every day. You'll build confidence over time. The better you are at the math, the more confidence you'll have. The more confidence you have, the better time you get getting financing. The better time you get financing, the more deals you buy. Again, it all comes down to that math, knowing how to do your math. And again, like Jim Rohn said, if you really want something, you'll find a way. And if not, you'll find an excuse. And that applies to everything. I love that quote because of that. So go out there, stop making excuses, and go out and do it. All right, guys. JT said, just upgraded. That's awesome. So last question of the day. Oh, Mike said, what's the current? Oh, if you're currently a pro member, write this down. If you're currently a pro member, go to biggerpockets.com. This is not the final question either. Go to biggerpockets.com/webinar. I'm going to write this down. biggerpockets.com/webinar/bonus. If you're already a pro member, go there. I'll put that in the chat room here to everybody. If you're already a pro member, go there. Enter in code 118. You get all the cool stuff. So last question of the day, guys. James said this. Hey, Brandon, just signed up for pro. So James, rock on. Question/excuse. I like that. I think, and this is actually a really good question, guys. Really good question. I think there might be a market correction or a crash coming this or next year. So I'm scared to jump into investing, but I want to prepare to invest when the market stabilizes. Can I get your opinion on this? Sure. That is something I've thought a lot about. Is the market going to crash? Is it going to correct? It's very possible that we are at the top or at the upper top of a bubble. So should you sit out? I don't think so. So here's my theory. I'm going to buy a good deal today. If it makes sense, if it cash flows today, I'm going to buy it. If the market crashes, I'm okay with that because I'm in this for the long haul. In fact, if it crashes, at least I have more experience that now I know I can how to buy more, right? So I'm going to buy today a good deal. I'm going to buy a good deal tomorrow. I'm going to buy a good deal next year when it crashes, or 10 years from now when it crashes. I'm going to just always buy good deals. Now, it's harder to find good deals today than it is when it crashes. When the market crashes, deals are going to be everywhere. And I'm going to be like a kid in a candy store. But use this time now to analyze for the best deals. You might have to analyze 100 deals before you find a good one, before you find one that can weather through a collapse of the economy, or like a decline. But those 100 deals you'll analyze will make you a much better investor when the crash happens. So even if you don't buy now, pretend you're going to buy now. Work it the same way, and you never know. You might just find an amazing deal now. So people that are really worried about the crash are generally people who are like I am worried about the crash if I was going to go build, because if I'm going to go build an apartment complex, that's going to take like 4 years, and I don't want it to crash in the middle of that period. So I would not build an apartment complex unless it cash flowed from day one, or at least, from the time it got built, because I don't want to get stuck in the middle of that. But a guy buying rental properties like me, like, heck, I'll buy it now, because if I buy it now, it's a good deal now, and it'll be a good deal if the market crashes. Typically, I only do fixed rate mortgages. The economy is different than it was also like 10 years ago, back when it crashed last time. Like, we don't have the subprime mess as much as we did back then. So if it collapses, it's going to collapse, I think, differently. But it's all speculation. Who knows? But I'm buying a good deal today, no matter what the market does. I'm buying a good deal today. And I would encourage people to do the same thing. Look for good deals. Only buy good deals. It's going to be harder today, but you can still do it. I know a lot of people who are. So with that, guys, I got to get out of here. Thank you so much for being a part of Bigger Pockets. Come back next week. I'll see you again. And until then, have a great week. Thank you, guys, and I'll see you around. Have a good day.